Once you have a table definition created within something like your Azure Storage Explorer or through Visual Studio, as we've seen, you can create and design your tables in either, then obviously you're going to want to get data into those tables. Now, you can do that through your Storage Explorer or through Visual Studio, but it's not the best editor when it comes to simply entering data. So normally, of course, you might design your own application that inserts data into these tables, or you might already have the data. It might be something that you have exported from some other kind of data source, such as an internal database. So with that, what you have, one of the easier options to get data into your tables is the upload feature. So with that, you can just take an existing file and pull the data in. So I'm just going to hit my upload button here first, and just to see the values, all we have to do is specify a source file name. We've got options here as to the format, and a standard CSV or comma separated value file is perfectly acceptable. And then we just have to tell it as to whether or not the column headers are in the first row. And in fact, I have a file that does have exactly that, so I'm just going to cancel that for now. And there, in fact, is my file right there. So tabledata.csv is something that I just created. So let's just have a quick look at the structure of this file here. You can see that I've got the same column headers here, partition key, row key, and obviously those ones are required. Now, take note, however, that timestamp, which is also required, does not actually have to be here. Even though it is required to store the data, if there is no timestamp value found, then Azure will simply insert one by default. So you can just leave that one out. Otherwise, we've just got the description and then the ID, which is just also displaying its data type as integer, and the location. Now, if you have already built the table through something like Storage Explorer or maybe Visual Studio, one other thing that you can do just to make sure that you get the structure or the design of the table correct is to just create even just a single record or even leave it blank, but then download the table. When you download the table, you know that it provides you with the correct structure. So I can go ahead and choose download, for example, and then I just have to specify a file name for the destination. And there you see some of the options to include nulls, include the header row, and to include the type of definitions. So those are just options, but it ensures that you're going to put in the correct format, the correct value, so there won't be any errors back when you upload it. So in fact, that's what I did. I just took my table, I cleared out the data, and then I downloaded it, and then I just entered in these values. So now I've got much more data. So I'm just going to close everything here. Make sure that's shut down, and I'm just going to go ahead and do an upload now of that file that contains the records. Now, I do want to point out that also just within Visual Studio, they actually don't have that upload option in here. So your Storage Explorer is probably the better choice for entering data via the upload feature. So there's our source file. So we're just going to go upload, and we're going to just browse and just check on our desktop. There's the file. And we're just specifying the table name, which you can obviously choose if you had several tables here. CSV is our format. The file does contain the header row, and we're just going to hit upload. And this shouldn't take very long. There we go. Upload complete. 18 entities added. Now, if there are any errors, it will tell you that down here, and this will actually show in red as well. And if there are, then you can go to your view menu, and you can choose errors, and it'll show you if there are any errors, and then you can just click on it to show the detailed information there. So obviously no errors is good. So we might just need to do a refresh, and if the refresh doesn't show anything here, if you close and reopen, that will certainly do it. But the other thing that you can do is to just hit the query with no criteria, and then just make sure that this number is appropriate for the number of records that you want to see. In our case, obviously, that's more than enough. So if you just hit query, this will also do a refresh. And there, in fact, are our records. So nice, quick, easy, and it allows us to enter data using a very familiar editor, something like Excel or any other tool that you might be a little more familiar with. And then if we go back into Visual Studio, for example, if we just do a refresh here, we should see the same records come back. And there we are. So now we've got access to query that data or to do whatever else it is that we need, but much, much easier to get the data in using the upload feature.